My name is John Daly. To some of us, this is a nightmare, but to the Korean people, this was destruction of their land, their towns, their homes, defending the dignity of free men. They suffered the ravages of war, a destructive war, not of their making. In their heroic effort to stop the enemy, more than 2 million Korean people were killed by bullets, bombs, and exposure. They stood up against an enemy bent on world conquest, determined to enslave mankind with a philosophy inhuman and unnatural. In the wake of this defeat, the enemy left behind some of his trophies. 100,000 children who had lost both parents, orphans, homeless, destitute. Urchins of the ruins, bearing heavily on humanity's conscience. 100,000 boys and girls born of flesh and blood, innocent children, orphans of the war, ill-clothed, without medical care, undernourished, starved. In this, their day of anguish and post-war suffering, the Korean people dream of rebuilding their homes, their towns, their country. Their gallant stand against the evils of darkness was not in vain. They paid dearly for their membership in the World Brotherhood of Free People. Will they be forgotten? Out of these ruins, out of this debris of man-created catastrophe, out of the ashes of their destroyed cities, burned homes and factories, again will rise the phoenix of reconstruction and national rehabilitation. They need vital materials, basic tools, help in know-how. Their determination is unbeatable. If we give them the materials, the tools, they will accomplish the work. The Koreans need your help to help themselves. Dr. Howard A. Rusk, president of the American Korean Foundation, will tell you of the vital needs of the vital Korean people.
I was privileged to visit Korea twice last year, leading missions sponsored by the American Korean Foundation. I observed the tragedy of these brave people. I met and spoke to Koreans of all walks of life. One thing that stands out in my mind more pronounced than any other is that they do not cry because of what has happened to them. Their anguish is the anguish of faith and hope. They are a people who have faith in us and who know that our people who preach and practice democracy will not forsake them, just as no one of you would forsake a good friend in time of need. Their needs are basic. They need materials to rebuild their schools and hospitals, opportunities for technical training, livestock for their farms, tools for their industries, medicine for their sick. If on a person-to-person basis you care to help the Koreans to help themselves, here is how you can do it. Send your dollars to the American Korean Foundation, care of your local post office. You can do so much for so little. 50 cents will provide complete care for an orphan for a day. $1 will maintain a hospital bed for a day. $4 will pay for a year's schooling for a child. $100 will provide an artificial leg for an amputee veteran and train him for useful work. $1,000 will send a student through 4 years of medical school. $5,000 will establish an orphanage. $10,000 will set up a school for nursing. So much for so little.
A goal of 600 carloads of vitally needed materials has been set to transport across the country this total of 36 million pounds of basic materials. The American Railroads and the Association of American Railroads are contributing all expenses in picking up from your town, your community's carload contributions and transporting them across the country on one of the Help Korea trains. Here is one of those trains leaving New York City. Others will leave other cities and will pick up carloads in your town. The Help Korea trains are on their way. They will stop in your town if you care to have them call on your city to pick up carloads of basic materials produced in your community. Your community will not want to miss the opportunity to join in this work of mercy. The Help Korea trains are on their way, your way. Their last stop will be the San Francisco Bay Area. There, the 36 million pounds of materials will be loaded on a fleet of ships destined for Korea. This is help for Korea. This is how you will be helping the Koreans help themselves.
My name is Henry C. Alexander. I am a banker by profession. At the request of our President, Dwight D. Eisenhower, I too have joined the ranks of volunteers to help Koreans to help themselves. To all sound-thinking Americans, Korea is the key to the Orient, and the Orient is the key to the future peace of the world. They need your help. This help you can extend to them on a person-to-person basis by sending your dollars to the American Korean Foundation in care of your local post office. For whatever you do for the Korean people on a person-to-person basis, the Lord will bless you. And now meet a friend of yours.
My name is Mrs. Wendell Wilkie. I am a mother and a grandmother too. And like any other mother, I want to help the South Koreans to help themselves. I want to help them because the Koreans' anguish is the anguish of faith and hope. The Koreans are people with faith in us, who believe that we of this great free democracy will not forsake them, just as none of you fine people would forsake a good friend in his time of need. I am asking you to help these fine Korean people. I am asking you to help them so that they can rebuild their country and make it a livable place for their children and grandchildren. Please help them, won't you?
My name is James Van Fleet. I had the honor and the privilege to serve you when I led and commanded your boys in Korea, while they fought side by side with the brave Korean soldiers. In Korea, I saw and heard many horrible things, as a soldier must see in war anywhere. But I saw and heard also some wonderful and beautiful things. One of the things I will treasure most for the remainder of my life is the sight and sound of one of the most wonderful musical organizations on this earth, the Korean Children's Choir. Wonderful boys and girls. They were sent to America to help us with this mighty humanitarian campaign of the American Korean Foundation. All of these boys and girls are orphans. They are now cared for by the Korean government and come here under the watchful eye of their own music master and nurses. After their transcontinental tour, they are going back to Korea. God bless these children. Did you know that our GIs have contributed between $25 and $30 million while in Korea? This sum they gave out of their own pockets from their meager soldiers' pay. They gave this money to Koreans to help them rebuild their orphanages, their children's hospitals, their places of worship, and 1,000 other good things. This is unheard of in the history of warfare. No other army in any period of history ever did this. And thousands of our boys shared their army rations with Koreans to keep them from starving. Our boys, our GIs, did so much on a person-to-person basis. Whatever you do, no matter how large or small, you will be helping the Koreans to help themselves. And now, back to the White House and our Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States.
I think I may speak for the people of the United States in thanking you three gentlemen and you, Mrs. Wilkie, for your part in mobilizing the gifts of America to go to a country where they're so badly needed. I think I can speak also for the nation in thanking our railroads for being so helpful and cooperative and showing such a sympathetic attitude toward this great need. And I want to speak for just a moment about my pride in what the Army has done. The Army had a long and grueling experience out in that country, as of course did all our fighting services. Yet so impressed were our soldiers by the great need out there and by the gallantry of their allies that they themselves contributed more than $25 million, completely aside from all of the work they did in supervising and providing the know-how for reconstruction of schools, hospitals, roads, bridges, and all the things that were destroyed in the war. So, as they excite my pride, you people excite my thanks, and I'm certainly that all of us are going to have our sentiments stirred very deeply in this country by the effort, and I'm sure the response will be everything that you expect.
Help the Koreans to help themselves. Send your dollars today directly to American Korean Foundation.